Good evening, you all. Welcome to another Drama is Life, where we talk about mental and social topics across the lifespan. We talk about drama because we know that drama is emotional, as we described in our previous lives, unexpected events. And so I want to have a conversation tonight about some ways to help with loneliness around the holidays. So if you've been feeling like you just can't get the jingle bell spirit, or you just can't get the, joy to the world, and you feel like I can't, don't feel uppity, don't feel holiday-ish. We're going to have a conversation about answering the question, what do the lonely do at Christmas? I may know the songs. We talked about Christmas songs last week. So we're going to pick that up again on tonight. Hello, I'm Theresa White. I am the CEO and founder of End Time Creative Counseling Services located in Terre Haute, Indiana. Excuse me. Where we offer drama therapy, expressive arts, and traditional therapy as well for adolescents, adults, families, couples, etc. If you want information about our services, feel free to reach out to us during our office hours. But tonight, I want to have a conversation about what really is happening around this holiday season. Just this holiday. I mean, it's a season because it's been happening, I think, since maybe Halloweenish. And I want to have a conversation with you all about it because I've been feeling it as well and hearing it from different people. And so I want to just first give a disclaimer. This is not to replace a therapy session. It's just giving you some information and tools that hopefully you can use, loved ones can use. You can share, like, subscribe. Please do. We hope that we are helpful to you. That's the purpose of our podcast and lives. So tonight, I don't plan to be long. I just want to give you three things to do. One, two, three. So let me first say, when it comes to the song that we talked about last week with "What Do the Lonely Do at Christmas," I want to share a couple of the lyrics with you. So first, it says, "'Tis the season to be jolly, but how can I when I don't have nobody?" Now, it's talking about relationally, but I want you to think about people have endured loss, period, for this year, and not just this year, but in general, and are experiencing loneliness because of that. The Yuletide Carol doesn't make it better. So, knowing that we won't be together. And then the main chorus part, it says, "A silent night, I know it's going to be joy to the world, but it's going to be sad for me." And I like how this song was made way back in 1977 before I was even thought of in existence. But I like how it puts music is just a really great way to put words to emotion because sometimes we don't have the words and we're like, that's it. And even though it doesn't fully capture 100%, it gives a nice indication of like, we are hearing all these wonderful songs, and maybe you're not. Maybe you're not even listening to songs. Maybe that's not even what's going on with you right now. Maybe you're like, I don't want to hear music. I ain't watching no Christmas movies. I don't feel Yuletide-ish. None of that. I want to first say that that's okay. So this may sound again silly to you if you're running or you are running around the house doing things that you do in the evening time with your children, or you're watching this, you just happen to see it on your phone because you're like, oh, it's live. Let me see what they're talking about. Take a minute to breathe. I say that because we think we do it and we are actually not. We're not. We most of the time we're not breathing intentionally, and we are actually holding a lot of our breath. So right now, I just want you to take a deep breath and release it. That you can definitely use that, but that's not one of the tips I'm gonna give on tonight. But I want you to give yourself a break and say, it's okay if I don't feel jolly, if I don't feel like joy to the world, if I don't feel like singing carols, dressing up, if I haven't decorated my house, I haven't put up a tree, if I haven't put up lights, all the things that people typically are having going on during this season. It's okay if you don't feel like that. Um, it's okay, and I'm saying it's okay as in we're not saying, oh my, what's wrong with you, Theresa? Why don't you feel this way? And maybe that is a good question to answer. It's important to pause, which is why I want you to take a breath. Because in drama therapy and when we use the expressive arts, we check into the body. This is a body type of therapy. We don't just use, we don't just sit and talk to you, which we do that with our bodies as well. But it's important that we recognize that our system is giving us messages at all times, whether we want to hear them or not. When you're yawning, that's a system message. When you are, your eyes is drooping, that's a system message. We can check in and we can say, no, nope, nope, nope. Let me drink my coffee. I gotta wake up, and we smack ourselves and we're trying to change our system's messages, but it's still the same. It's still telling you you're tired. It's still saying you don't feel like it this year. It's still saying I'm not uppity about the holiday. So what did the lonely do? What happens when I feel lonely for Christmas? What happens when I've lost a loved one this holiday season? And people around me may be celebrating, and people say, well, it's just for the children. We a lot of times invalidate our own emotions because we are not used to hearing, or we're used to actually hearing like that happiness is the only thing people want to feel or should feel, as if every other emotion is a bad emotion or should not even show up in the system. Your system is trying to give you a message regardless of what that is. And it may say to you, check into something, because you don't feel like this. You're not jumping or shouting or happy or dancing or wrapping presents and putting up lights or whatever it is that you may do around this time of year. And maybe you don't do any of that. Maybe you're like, I'm not a holiday person anyway. But it's still important to check into what that emotion is. And one of the things that I would say, one of the ways is to check in, acknowledge. And one way that I have people that I'm working with do is, if you could give your mood a color, your experience, what it feels like, a color, what color would it be and why? Now, for you, you can put that in the comments if you want to. I would love to hear feedback if you're comfortable with giving that. But if not, it's okay. And I want you to actually journal it. Type it in your phone notes, your computer notes, wherever you may be. When you stop at the stoplight, I want you to jot it down. What right now, if I can give this season feeling that I have, what is it right now? Is it gray? Is it blue? Is it white? Is it yellow? Is it red? Whatever the color may be. And the color does not need to have a particular emotion associated with it. So yellow is not always happy to people. Green is not always, nature. It can be whatever you say it is. And so I say that because I want you to acknowledge what it actually is, because that's what a lot of times we don't do. We're not acknowledging that our system is even trying to communicate and saying you're tired, you're lonely, you're stressed, you're frustrated, you need a break, you need to sit down, you have not rested, whatever the message may be. But tonight we're talking about particularly the feeling of loneliness, sadness, and kind of the apathy feeling of, I'm just not feeling it, right? People say, I'm just not feeling it. That's an indifferent, apathetic emotion of like, not really on this side, not on that side. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of pulled both ways. Happy, sad, don't really feel either one. And so that's one. Acknowledge it, right? Give yourself an opportunity to sit with it. Because a lot of times what we're doing from our messages in our system is that we're running from them. We are, again, nope, wake up. Nope, nope. And we're saying no. And our system is saying, well, you can say no to me, but I'm telling you yes. Yes, I am tired. Yes, I'm lonely. Yes, I'm, whatever, apathetic. I'm indifferent. I'm not feeling it. And so when we acknowledge it, instead of trying to run from it and avoid it, then we can actually respond to it appropriately. I teach that as well during my sessions. So that's step one. Give you that little short version of it. Number two, one way that you may want to acknowledge it is to write it out. A lot of times, again, we talked about the songs that we have. We can be singing, bopping, dancing, and it's, people are like, what's going on? What you over there listening to? And you're like, oh, and you got to say it out loud, like, oh, I'm over here listening to this Christmas song or this artist. And when we begin to talk about what's happening up here out loud, we can hear what it really is. Because a lot of times what's happening in our minds is it seems so much bigger than it is, or our minds is making it something that it may not be. And I'm not saying that it may not be. Sometimes it may be like, okay, well, yeah, I am feeling sad. But sometimes when we actually talk about it, it's like that. Okay, that's not really what it is. That's not true. Maybe I am feeling lonely, but maybe I'm thinking nobody cares about me. When it's like, that's not true. It may feel that way at times, but that's not the truth. And so when we actually acknowledge it, get it out, whether we write it out, we can see it and look at it and say, oh, no, that's not true. I got a cousin that love me. We and I talk all the time, but my cousin loves me. My aunt cares about me, my mother, my father, and go down the list of people who care about you. And so when we write it out, whether it's like I feel lonely because I've lost my parent this year, I feel lonely because I'm missing my sister, missing my brother, whoever I'm missing my former partner, whatever it may be. It's okay to acknowledge that instead of trying to move past it, push through it, and ignore your system trying to let you know that it needs some attention somewhere. So that was step 2. Journal it, write it out, look at it, and sit with it, even if it's just for 5 seconds. I'm not saying we got to sit with it for 20 minutes. Sometimes we can't handle that in our system. And so we will, I'm going to go and finish my dinner, put my macaroni on or whatever you're making, sweet potato pies, whatever people do around this time of season. And your third one, because I will say, people, again, we talk about grief. A lot of times that loneliness and the emotions that are happening with people is a grief response. A lot of times it's a grief or trauma response that we're having and we're trying to move through it. I also will say your third one. So I'm gonna give you your third one before I get to my theory of what's really happening this season. The third one would be opposite to emotion. So it's a certain type of skill. So sometimes people are just like, do it afraid. You ever heard that statement? Do it afraid. It's okay to say, I'm gonna do it even though I feel lonely. I'm gonna call or go to the holiday party even though I'm not feeling it. Opposite to emotion is actually doing an opposite action to what you are feeling. I feel sad, I'm gonna go to a comedy show. I feel sad, I'm gonna go watch a comedy movie. So it makes me laugh. So you're doing something that's gonna pull out the opposite of how you're feeling. So those times you're like, I don't feel like running. I don't feel like going to work out. And you may not feel like it, but you don't allow that to stop you from getting to the goal and doing the activity of getting to the goal of what you want. If I want this emotion to change, I have to make an action to pull out the emotion that I want. So, and that may sometimes sound contradictory of like, okay, I'm acknowledging that I'm not trying to avoid it is number 2. But number 3 is you tell me to do something opposite. 3. So what do you mean? I'm saying that because we can acknowledge it and then it's like, okay, now what do I do about it? I've acknowledged it. Now what's my message of my system saying for me to do? Maybe it's saying, I just wanted your attention to let you know that, yes, I am feeling lonely. Yes, I do feel this way. And I don't want you to keep running away from the fact that we have emotions, that we have thoughts, that this season has maybe run up on us a little fast. And people are trying to run and grab gifts and rushing to feel the stress of like, oh, I got to try to do all the things that we are used to doing when your system is saying, well, maybe that's not where I'm at yet. It's okay that I'm not there yet. It's okay that I need a minute and trying to rush myself the same way we used to do for Christmas. I'm going to rush. I want to get it, go sleep today. Is it Christmas yet? No, you can't rush December 25th. It's going to show up when it shows up, right? It's going to show up the same time of year that it shows up every other time. Your birthday, holidays, they all show up at the same time every year. We can't rush it no matter how excited, how anxious we are. And one of the most futile emotions and activities that we can do is worry because it doesn't add, the scripture says it doesn't add anything to your life. You can't add a hair on your head. You can't add an inch to your height. You can't take nothing. You can't add nothing to your bills by worrying. So you can't do anything about, or you can't change that with regards to like, if I'm worrying, it's not going to do anything. But I can acknowledge it and say, okay, I do feel this way, but what am I going to do about it? Now I don't want to sit with this for 2 weeks or however long. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to take some action. Maybe watch a holiday movie if you haven't done it. I'm going to listen to a Christmas song that I really like or a holiday song, whatever holiday that you enjoy. I'm going to go call a cousin and say, hey, let's go to a movie. I'm going to do, again, opposite. If I feel lonely, the opposite to that would be, let me go be with people. Even though I don't feel like that, Theresa. I don't feel like talking to nobody. I don't want to be around nobody. I don't want nobody looking at me. I don't want them asking questions. Oh, I know. Right? Because you're seeing, children are happy and you just smell. And we just got through learning that a young man Twitch took his life, right? And so that's why we want to have this. First of all, we want to have this conversation anyway, because this is that season. But again, if we don't acknowledge it and we keep smiling through it, I'm not saying smile through it, but I am saying do the opposite of what your system may be saying to do. If you feel like that's not getting the result, if it's not getting the result, if you just want to, I don't want to feel different, then keep doing what you're doing. But that third one is an option. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do all three of them. Sometimes you can do number one, check in, acknowledge it, and that will help. Number two, I can journal it, look at it, really see it for what it is, and be able to look at it and say, okay, that's true, that's not true. I can validate it or tell it that's not the case at all. And then three, I can do opposite. I can say, what do I want to do about this? And then do an opposite to what that emotion is. And I say sometimes you may be like, I don't have nobody to go with. We have gotten to a place that we get uncomfortable with spending time with ourselves because we have not been used to doing that. Typically, we look at that as a negative thing, like, oh, what's wrong with her over there? She's sitting by herself. They talking by themselves, or not talking by themselves, but they over there. Why are they coming to the movie alone? That you coming to dinner by yourself? That looks odd. That looks awkward. You know, you came into the world by yourself, whether you were a twin, triplet, it don't matter. You came through the canal of birth alone. You will hit death alone. And I say that because we act like being alone is negative. It's not. I learned a lot being alone. I learned what I think about myself. I learned what I think about others by myself or about others when I'm alone. I learned what I like and what I don't like. Because sometimes people can crowd the true you, and you're just mimicking the people around you, the faces around you, smiles and not smiles. And I don't really know what my authentic emotion is. And so it's important that we recognize that being alone is not always meaning lonely. It's not always a negative thing. Now, you can feel lonely and say, you know what? And it's okay that I'm not around 1,000 people this season. I'm not around 200. But if I need to be around maybe a good core few, supportive people, that's okay. And then acknowledge them, reach out, contact, and make that happen. Do that opposite to the emotion. I don't feel like it. It don't matter how I feel. I want a different feeling. So I'm going to do a different action to pull out that different feeling. So those are your three. I want to give a quick, before I end, I want to give a quick my synopsis of what's happening. I was talking to someone today who also, so I'm just not I've not been in the mood for Christmas. I've not felt it yet. Not that they are trying to push against it, but it's being hard to feel it. First of all, can we acknowledge that, yes, we did come out of a whole pandemic that literally shut down our lives. And I say that because even for healthcare workers like myself who did not shut down for work, it still shut down contact with family members. People didn't have birthdays. People didn't get to go to funerals. People did not get to adequately bury and mourn loved ones because things were shut down. I didn't get to celebrate birthdays like I wanted to. I didn't get to people who graduated that year didn't get prom. All these things that did not happen. And then after the year happened, it's kind of like, okay, now get back to life. Okay, let's get back to work. And we just kind of zoom back up. And what's really happening in our system is that grogginess is what I feel is happening. It's kind of like your mother or father saying, come on, Theresa, let's get ready. And they're zooming out the door. And you're still like, yeah, I'm up. Wait, what? Okay, let me get my socks. And they're trying, come on. And time and seasons are rushing through you. And you're like, wait, I'm still trying to wake up. I'm still trying to wake up to the fact that life is, that my emotions, that I'm still trying to get my mind together as to where I'm at, what I'm doing. And people come on, and they're clapping at you and doing all these things because they're trying to connect you to, okay, you're woke. Stand up. Come on, put some water on your face. And you're like, what? Okay. That's happening to our system. That's happening, I believe, in the world. And so a lot of times I feel like we're trying to wake up and we're still very lethargic and the motivation, we feel drained. And why can't I get myself to just get it. Come on, come on. And it's like this honestly like a spirit of sleep that's trying to hit people of like, just it's okay. You ain't got to go to work today. I don't feel like it. You don't feel like it. Don't do it. And at moments it is okay to not be okay. We're not saying that you are wrong because you have different emotions. But for you, you know that no, it's not. This is not okay. I don't like this feeling. I don't like this place. And so I want to do something to shift that. The same way somebody who says, I don't like how my body looks. And I don't mean like plastic surgery type of not liking it. I mean, like if I want to go work out or I want to tone something up or lift weights and gain a little bit or whatever that is, we can take action to do that. We can make action happen with how we are eating. So we make plans to take action. We can do the same thing for our emotional health. And so this season, you don't have to be if you don't want to be. And I say that because sometimes you may be saying, Theresa, I don't have you. I really don't have nobody. Everybody, I have nobody to be around. Well, it's okay to go sit in a public place, whether that's the mall, and go sit and have yourself a cup of coffee, or because you got to talk to people to be around people. And we all, we know that there's times that we can have moments of being in a crowd and feeling like that we are the only one there with lonely and even in a crowd. So I say that because sometimes it may be like, I don't want to be around nobody. But I don't want to sit in that emotion. I don't like that. So then you can go and go to a coffee shop. Because even then you got to talk to somebody to order a coffee, right? Or maybe you don't if you have the app. But again, that we're social beings. And so we're not meant to be secluded, or it's not good for mankind to be alone. It's not good for us to be solitary continuously. Now, for a period of time of resting, absolutely. But when that lingers and lingers and lingers, it gets into the issue. And we know that too much sleep wears on our bodies. So I'm gonna go over our 3 again. And I hope that you are actually taking this in and actually going to do it. So around this holiday, if you have lost a loved one, you used to go and do this with your cousin or your friend, your mother, your father, whoever, go anyway. As they say, do it afraid. Do it even though you feel lonely. Do it anyway. You guys, we say acknowledge it, so check in. Number 2, I want you to journal it, write it down, look at it, and be able to either validate it or deny it. Speak truth to it. And number 3, if you don't want that emotion, do the opposite. Do something else. Do something different. Surprise yourself. Shock your system. The same way they would throw water on you when they're trying to wake you up and smacking you in the face. Shock your system. Shock your emotional system and say, I'm not going to stay in this. I'm going to do something that I don't feel like doing. I'm going to go to the movie by myself. I'm going to go have lunch by myself. I'm going to go eat, have some coffee, call a friend that I haven't talked to in a while, whatever that is. Shock the system. And then again, go back to number 1 and check in to see what has happened with that mood color. So again, there is things that lonely can do for Christmas. Hope that you will take heed. Hope that you have a blessed holiday, whatever holiday you are celebrating, even if you're just celebrating you. Have a blessed holiday, you all. See you next time. Bye-bye.